The Miami hate is real, bro. Folks, you already know. The Miami hate is real and it's resurfaced its ugly head. I thought, we had adults that were making decisions on rankings. And I know people constantly get on my ass about saying rankings don't matter. Yeah, they do. I keep telling y'all the CFP is going to watch these damn rankings and make a lot of their decisions based on the rankings of the AP and the coaches poll because they typically look very, very similar to what the AP looks like. So I'm telling you right now, before you say you don't care, you should care. You should care because they're finding a way to make it harder on Miami to get in the playoff if they win out. Now, yeah, I still believe if Miami wins out, they're going to make the college football playoff. That has stood true. I have no change in my opinion on that. But I also believe that if Miami wins out, they should probably be a top four seed in the playoffs. That's just my opinion as well, because everybody is likely going to lose with the exception of one team going into the playoffs. Everybody is going to lose. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. Everyone is going to lose. We can look at the undefeated teams. BYU is 8-0. Maybe they'll be undefeated. Maybe. So maybe there'll be two. Georgia Tech is 8-0. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. If they go undefeated, I'd be flabbergasted. Texas A&M probably going to lose despite their blowout of LSU that finished off Brian Kelly and got him fired yesterday. Indiana or Ohio State is absolutely going to lose. So instead, we get rankings. And I said in my video following the game against Stanford, Miami probably will stay the same because everyone ahead of them won. Oh, no, they didn't stay the same. They didn't stay the same. In fact, they lost 4 votes. They dropped behind Vanderbilt, who beat Missouri. Somehow, Vanderbilt adds 67 points to their total in votes, beating Missouri at home. Again, Missouri, let's not act like Missouri is a world beater. They're a good team who was playing their backup quarterback, and Vanderbilt won a home game 17-10. Diego Pavia threw for 129 yards, was 10 of 19. Vanderbilt had 265 yards of offense, and they moved up from 10th to 9th and passed Miami. Make that shit make sense. Let's talk about it. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez. Show. Might hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments. I appreciate y'all continued support. BYU beats Iowa State, and they move up in the rankings. Again, they went from 11th with 975 points in the polls to tied for 10th with Miami at 1069. Miami won 42-7. Look, I know the game was 7-7 at halftime. I know the first half was ugly. Miami won 42-7. 42-7. Can you imagine winning 42-7 and dropping? Like, let's think about this for a second. You you dropped winning by 35. 35. Hmm. Yeah, make that make sense. It doesn't. And it should concern you. And the reason it should concern you is because you want the Canes to host a first round playoff game, regardless of if they're a top 4 seed or not. You want them to play that first game at home. You do not want that game to be on the road. You want it at home. So that's important, which means Miami has to be at least an 8 seed. That you want them to be at least an 8 seed. Because after that, it's all neutral site games. They're bowl games. Miami's bowl game will probably be in Miami at the Hard Rock, but if they're a top 4, you know their game will be in Miami at the Hard Rock for that quarterfinal game. So the Miami Hurricanes have a chance, as I've said before, to play 2 of 3 games in their home building if they were to advance to the national championship game. And if they're stuck having to play a first round game, then they can play 3 of the 4 games in their home building. And that's important. But to watch them drop after winning by 35 with an absolutely dominating defensive performance, completely shutting down Stanford, 8 first downs, 3 after the first quarter, 1 via penalty, 144 yards of offense for Stanford, and you drop in the polls? Think about that crap for a second. Now, you can look at the other teams. Virginia was ranked 16th. They barely beat a horrendous North Carolina team, and they jump in the poll a spot from 16 to 15. North Carolina sucks, and they move up. Stanford sucks, and Miami wins by 35, and we move down. Make it make sense, people. Make this shit make sense. Louisville beats Boston College, who is 1-7, 38-24 at home. God, the fact that Boston College scored 24 points and Miami scored 21 against that team just really pisses me off now even more. God, that pisses me off. Jesus, Lord, that pisses me off. God. But they move up 3 spots in the rankings. 3. They beat a completely shit Boston College team and go from 19 to 16. How? Because South Florida lost? Because Missouri lost? Because Oklahoma lost? I mean, I guess that's the reason, but it was a 1-7 football team. And they gave up 24 points to a 1-7 football team, which also shows you that every game every week is different. And the way people approach games every week is different. But when Miami does it, they drop in the rankings. Georgia Tech actually dropped themselves behind Ole Miss, despite winning by 25 over Syracuse. And again, this Miami dislike to get jumped by a Vanderbilt team that barely beat a Missouri team playing its backup quarterback in the second half is absolutely diabolical bullshit. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I only bring these things up constantly because I know what can happen. I know what can happen. I've seen it happen. We've lived it before as Hurricanes fans. And while I don't think we'll live it again, presuming we win out the rest of the year, and I know these other teams are going to lose. Like I know Vanderbilt's going to lose again. I don't have a lot of concerns about Vanderbilt. I know they're going to lose again. Heck, they're probably going to lose this weekend at Texas, even though Texas will probably be playing a backup quarterback, and they're probably going to lose against Tennessee. So they're going to lose again. I don't have much concern. I think most of these teams are going to lose games again. I think Ole Miss will lose again. I think Oregon could. I don't know if Oregon will lose again. Georgia or Bama will lose again, more than likely. Like there's these teams that are going to lose again. So I think Miami will end up, if they win out, in the top 6. But man, when you win by 35 and get dropped in the polls, that shit's absolutely freaking insane. When your defense performs the way that defense performed on Saturday against Stanford and you drop in the polls, it's absolutely insane. I wonder if there's a defense in the country who has had 2 dominating games as Miami has had. I really wonder, and I'm just going to look just for shits and giggles. because I doubt there's a team that's had the type of dominating performance against Power Four Division One schools like Miami has had against Florida and Stanford. And I know Stanford isn't very good, but they're still a Power Four school. And I'm looking just for example, I'm looking at Ohio State, and Ohio State hasn't held anybody in a Power Four school. Maybe they did this weekend. Maybe it's Wisconsin. They did their best game defensively was against Wisconsin. But outside of that, people have scored. People have moved the ball. And they don't get penalized for not winning by a gazillion points. You know what I mean? They've had 2 games. So they had one Minnesota and Ohio State. Minnesota and Wisconsin. And both of those teams are similar to what Miami did. But I think Miami's 2 defensive performances against Florida and Stanford are as good as it gets. And you dropped in the polls for it. It's crazy. It's crazy. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. The AP hate is real. It's real. And the funny thing is the coaches poll did not move Miami down. Miami did not drop in the coaches poll. Miami stayed exactly the same. In fact, Miami got 2 more votes in that poll. Think about that. They got 2 more votes in that poll, whereas they lost points in the AP. It's wild, bro. Absolutely wild. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. This is Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast, man. Come on now.